You're listening to episode 1 of the EvenMatchupGaming podcast, hosted by Toronto Joe and Smash Central Official.
Welcome to the EvenMatchupGaming podcast, the show where we talk about fighting games. I'm Smash Central Official.
I'm Joe.
And today we're going to touch on Smash's potential as an esport, Nintendo's relationship with its fans and community, and the viability of being a pro gamer. So, what do we have to say about Smash's potential as an esport? I mean, there's League of Legends as an esport, there's all these games that are getting these huge popularity, and all these people are watching them now. And what does that mean for Smash in the future? That's what I want to know.
Well, judging from Evo, it's clear that Smash is a good spectator sport. People love to watch it. And from the sales of the game, it's clearly a global, worldwide game. Everyone from across the world plays it, and everyone loves it because it has Nintendo characters that everyone's familiar with, from all staple franchises. So I think when you tie that in to a more casual audience, I think they would enjoy watching the game because it's fluid, it's fast, it's not boring to watch. It takes a little bit to learn to figure out how the game works, but I think it's pretty straightforward and is accessible to a wide audience.
It's definitely a lot of fun to watch and play. I mean, like, what made you get into Smash in the first place? Like, before you even knew about, a such thing of competitive fighting.
Yeah,
like,
people go to tournaments for this.
Yeah, like, what? There's tournaments for fighting games? But
exactly.
Yeah, you got into Smash because it was, like, your favorite characters fighting it out, and I'm sure there'd be tons of people, like, thousands of, like, Nintendo fans just like you and I that would love to see that on, like, a big screen with, like, just, like, people, like, going ham for these crazy, like, prize pots and stuff like that. So I think what that means is that in the future, if the community wants this to happen, if the fans want this to happen, not just the competitive players have to make a push for this, but also, the casual fans that, like to watch things like League of Legends on stream, stuff like that. You might not play League of Legends at a high level, but you might enjoy watching it. And so if you enjoy, watching Smash Bros, or even just, playing Smash Bros with your friends, I think those people need to start making a push for things like this,
Yeah, like, whenever I go to different schools, like college campuses, people are always playing Smash in the lounge. Like, Smash is a fun game to play. People enjoy it. And I think in order to tie in that casual audience, you would also need Nintendo's involvement to be more so pushing the tournament scene, giving it a good image. So how do you feel that Nintendo's relationship stands right now with the competitive community, at least?
Well, at the moment, Nintendo pretty much pretends that the competitive community just doesn't exist at all, and they just don't want to acknowledge them, and they just want to, cater games to their family-friendly fan base, and, the kids and things like that. But the thing is, it's not kids that are playing Nintendo games anymore. It's teenagers, it's young adults, it's even adults like people aged 19 to 25 that are still playing Nintendo games.
I think the thing about Nintendo is they have a set idea of how they want their games to be played. I think they intend Smash to be like a wacky, chaotic, free-for-all, like everyone for themselves kind of game, where competitive play, it's a lot more linear to them. They don't really see the complexity behind it, right? It's just people that are taking it way too seriously, and that's a common perception with not just Nintendo, but other, like, gaming communities. A lot of people don't think that Smash is a serious competitive game. So when you're trying to sell that, it makes it hard without Nintendo's support, because if even Nintendo is on board with saying, nah, this isn't really that competitive of a game, we just want it to be for more casual fans, you want to get a more family friendly audience, I think it sends the wrong message in terms of actually growing the sport.
But the thing is, Nintendo could easily include, their target audience at these events and things like that. Like, if they start promoting like Smash tournaments, or other Nintendo games that you might enjoy, if they start creating tournaments like that, they're gonna get these casual players to come out, and if they're not gonna enter, they're definitely gonna watch their favorite games being played at, like, people who are really good at them. Because that's what I started doing, looking up YouTube videos of people who play the games that I like to play, but are just, a lot better than I am. Because watching people beat these games and do these crazy things is really interesting. So I think that Nintendo could definitely, like, please their target audience if they still, catered to the competitive side a little, and just, made some fun events for them, and or just, showed their support at these events, and, added to the prize pot, or added to, I guess, just the whole, like, aura of the venue, just, maybe some Nintendo posters or cutouts or tables, merchandise, things like that,
The thing is, like, I think Nintendo focuses too much about how we play as opposed to how our community actually is. Like, we have an awesome environment at our tournaments. People are really passionate about the games. They love Smash. And Nintendo should really get more on board with that. Because remember those GameStop tournaments that they hosted throughout, like, the US and Canada?
Yeah.
Those brought out so many people, garnered so much interest for Smash. And when the community came out and supported it, it was awesome. Everyone enjoyed it. Didn't really have anything negative attached to it. So I think Nintendo also needs to look at who their audience is that play competitively, because we're not just super serious. We love having fun. Like, when we go to tournaments, we're playing a game. Like, the number one thing is to have fun, right? As seriously as we may take it, if you're not enjoying yourself, then what's the point?
Exactly. And so Nintendo just needs to, stop kind of like thinking that we're like, I don't know, maybe like these, I don't know, evil people, like these trolls hiding under the bridge, and we're nice people. We want to enjoy their games and have fun with their games, and we definitely like to have fun with Nintendo if they want to have fun with us. But the last thing we want to touch on is, being able to be a professional gamer on a competitive level, and what that means for, people that, don't even play competitively. Like, everyone seems to, some people like myself, back in the day, seem to have this fantasy that, you can make a living off of just being amazing at video games, And there's these League of Legends tournaments and streams like that, but yeah, like they have these huge, you see these huge crowds and these huge like numbers in the streams, and it's people, they start looking at that and they're like, maybe that could be me someday. And I was also, caught in that little fantasy, but what's the reality behind that,
I think a big portion of the viability, I guess, of playing Smash competitively is if you're just doing it from a player standpoint, like all you're going to do is go to tournaments and play, it's never going to amount to much, because how's the community going to grow if you're only thinking about yourself, right?
Yeah.
If you treat it as something where only you can affect how the results end up, I don't think it'll end up being anything substantial, because you need to give back to the community in order to help it grow. You need to spread the word, promote a positive message for Smash, help players get more interested in the game, because a lot of people, they do live under the impression, if I can become the best in the world and win all these tournaments, that I'll be able to make a living for myself and sustain myself. But why would you ever want to put yourself in a position where the only way for you to get by is for you to win that tournament? Like, you need to always be placing. Like, that's such a burden to put on yourself.
Yeah.
At this stage in like competitive gaming for Smash, that's not a burden that you should put on yourself if you want to do well. You should have your real job that helps you travel, helps you get out to events. That way you don't have that financial instability where it's like, shit, I'm instead of living from paycheck to paycheck, I'm living from tournament to tournament. It's no different in my eyes.
Yeah, it's like I gotta pay my rent. I better, win this bi-weekly tournament coming up type thing. But it goes for any game, not just Smash, like Street Fighter, Marvel, King of Fighters, like anything, Injustice even. Like, you can't just make a living off of winning like every tournament you go to. Like, you're still only gonna make like at best, couple grand, but at the end of the day, like at the end of the year, I should say, it's not gonna amount to what, your regular 40-hour, 30-hour a week paycheck would in the end. So it's not really, it's a fantasy, but it's not really a reality. And a lot of people seem to have this fantasy of being, the number one gamer in the world, and just, I don't know, maybe they think because they would have that title that the money would just like keep coming in somehow, like someone would pay them for being so good at what they do, but that's just not how the world works,
Yeah, like, just have fun with it. That's all it comes down to with all these topics. You just don't take it so seriously and try to think about the bigger picture, because it can amount to something great, but if you treat it like a job, like a 9 to 5, it's not going to be fun and it won't amount to much. So that's the end of our podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm T.O. Joe.
I'm Smash Central Official. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Have a good night.
Thanks for listening.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of Even Matchup Gaming. Follow us on SoundCloud.com/EvenMatchupGaming to hear every episode right as they air. You can also find us on Twitter or on Facebook.com/EvenMatchupGaming. Get back in the lab and we'll see you next match.